You know what the most dangerous moment in a man's life is? It's not when he fails. It's not when he loses the job, loses the girl, or loses the money. The most dangerous moment is when the world decides before you do that you are finished. When the people who are supposed to be in your corner stop calling. When your name becomes something people whisper instead of respect. When everything you built starts to feel like it's crumbling and you're the only one still trying to hold it together. That silence. That cold, heavy silence. That is where most men break. But a very small number of men, the ones history actually remembers, they use that silence. They weaponize it. They disappear into it, rebuild inside it, and they come back as something unrecognizable. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. Not theory, not motivational fluff, a tactical framework for turning your lowest point into your most powerful launch pad. Stay with me. This one matters. Let me tell you something that nobody in your life will say to your face. The moment people write you off is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of the only chapter that actually counts. Think about every man throughout history who came back from nothing. Think about every empire built from rubble. None of them started in comfort. None of them had the crowd on their side in the beginning. They had the opposite. They had enemies. They had doubt. They had people, real people in their real lives who looked them dead in the eye and said, "You're done." And here's what those men understood that their critics didn't. Being written off is a gift wrapped in humiliation. Why? Because expectations are a cage. When people expect greatness from you, you perform for them. You play their game. You stay within the rules. They design rules that were never made for your benefit. But when they write you off, when they stop watching, the cage door swings open. You can move in any direction. You owe nobody a performance. The Roman general Scipio Africanus, the man who defeated Hannibal, the greatest military mind of the ancient world, was exiled by Rome. Stripped of his reputation, the city he saved turned its back on him. You know what he did? He left. He went to his villa. He wrote. He studied. He stopped trying to prove himself to a crowd that had already made up its mind. He knew what you need to understand right now. The crowd is never the judge of your legacy. Time is. So the first step, and this is the hardest one, is this. Stop fighting the narrative. Let them write you off. Nod, smile, go quiet, and then get to work. Most men, when the world turns against them, do the exact wrong thing. They make noise. They defend themselves publicly. They post. They argue. They beg for understanding. Every single one of those moves is a loss. Here's the physics of it. Drama requires two parties. Gossip needs a reaction to feed on. Opposition needs your energy to survive. The moment you go silent, truly silent, you cut off the oxygen supply. Silence is not passivity. Silence is strategy. Think about a chess grandmaster. He doesn't announce his next move. He doesn't explain his strategy to his opponent. He calculates in silence. He lets the other person telegraph their weaknesses by reacting. And then, when the moment is precisely right, he moves. Your silence does three things. Your noise cannot. First, it starves the fire. People who are attacking you thrive on your reaction. Anger, sadness, defensiveness, that's fuel. Take it away and the fire burns itself out. Second, it creates psychological unease in your enemies. Nothing is more unsettling than attacking someone and getting absolute nothing back. They start asking, what does he know that I don't? What is he planning? You transfer the paranoia from yourself to them. Third, and this is the one that changes everything, silence forces you inward. When there is no crowd to perform for, no one to convince, no battle to fight externally, you are left alone with the only opponent that was ever worth beating, yourself. That is where men are actually built, not in the spotlight, in the silence. During this period, you must operate on what I call the dark principle. Build in the dark, train in the dark. Learn in the dark. Let your progress be invisible to everyone who doubted you until it's undeniable to everyone who sees you. The reveal is not a press release. The reveal is you, standing in front of the people who counted you out with results so obvious that they have no words left. Now I need to talk to you about something that most motivational content will never touch because it's uncomfortable. And it requires a level of honesty with yourself that most people will never have. When you are at rock bottom, when the world has written you off, some of what they said is true. Not all of it. Most criticism is projection, fear, or politics. But buried inside the noise, there are usually one or two signals. Real weaknesses. Real patterns that got you here. The man who ignores all of it and says, I'm right, they're wrong, comes back the same. He gets written off again. The cycle repeats. The man who actually goes to surgery on himself, who sits in the quiet and asks the brutal questions, he comes back different. He comes back upgraded. Ask yourself three questions. Write the answers down. Don't flinch. 1. What patterns in my behavior consistently create friction, failure, or broken trust? Not what others do wrong. What do I do that contributes to my own setback? 2. Where am I lying to myself about my level? Your results are always telling you the truth. If your income, your health, your relationships are not where you want them, that is data. Be precise about where the gap is. 3. What would the version of me that wins look like? Not in 5 years and 6 months. Specific, physical, behavioral, financial. Define that man exactly. This is identity surgery. You are not just fixing problems. You are eliminating the version of yourself that created them. You are not rebuilding the old you. You are engineering a new one. The people who wrote you off, they knew the old you. They didn't write off your potential. They wrote off the pattern they observed. Your job is to make that pattern extinct. Here is the mathematical truth that most people never use to their advantage. Compound growth is brutal in the short term and inevitable in the long term. If you improve by 1% every single day for a year, you are 37 times better than when you started. 37 times. In 12 months. That is not motivation. That is arithmetic. But here's what makes this powerful in your specific situation. While your critics are watching your starting point and laughing, they have no visibility into your trajectory. They see where you are. They do not see the slope you're on. This is your massive advantage. Right now, in this low moment, you can establish habits, disciplines, and systems that will compound for years. The people who wrote you off are not doing this. They are comfortable. Comfortable people are stationary, and stationary people get passed. The playbook is not complicated. It is relentless. Lock in your health. Your body is the foundation of every other form of output. Sleep, train, eat like your life depends on it, because the quality of your life absolutely does. A sharp mind lives in a strong body. Every day you neglect, this is a day you're operating at a fraction of your potential. Stack skills that create leverage, not the skills your old boss needed from you. The skills that make you valuable to the world independently. Sales, code, communication, investing, systems thinking. The skills that cannot be taken from you when someone decides you no longer fit their plan. Build income streams you control. Employment is a single point of failure. One decision by one person who may not even like you can end it tomorrow. Diversify. Build something on the side. Even small $100 a month that no boss can take is worth 10 times $1,000. That depends on someone else's mood. 6 months of this. Serious, unbroken, daily compounding. That's all it takes to be unrecognizable. Here's what nobody talks about. The return. Because eventually, if you do the work, and I mean really do it, without shortcuts, without performing, without checking who's watching, you will arrive somewhere new. You will have results. You will have capabilities. You will have a version of yourself that is genuinely, measurably better. And the people who wrote you off will notice. And here's where most men make the final mistake. They go back to prove a point. They want the moment. They want the, I told you so. They want to rub it in the face of everyone who doubted them. Don't. Not because they don't deserve it. Some of them absolutely do. But because the moment you start performing for people who doubted you, you have made them the audience again. You've handed them power over your narrative, the real flex, and this is the one that quietly destroys your critics more than any victory lap is indifference, not anger, not grudges, not celebration, just calm, absolute indifference. You are busy, you are building. You don't have time to look back because what's ahead is too interesting. When they try to reconnect, and they will, because success is magnetic, you can be gracious, you can be kind. You don't need to keep score, but you remember. You remember who showed up when your hands were empty, and you structure your inner circle accordingly. Access to your energy is now a privilege. It is earned, not given. Some people will get a seat at your table. Some people will stand outside looking in. That is not cruelty. That is wisdom. I want to leave you with this. Being written off is a test, not of your talent, not of your worth, of your will. Can you operate without validation? Can you build without an audience? Can you keep going when the only person who believes in you is the man in your mirror? Most men cannot. And that is exactly why most men never become what they were capable of becoming. But you're still watching this. You didn't tap out. That tells me something about you. So here's your assignment, not tomorrow. Today, write down the name of the person you are going to become in the next 6 months. Put it somewhere you see it every morning, and then quietly, methodically, without announcement, become him. Let the silence be your shield. Let the work be your weapon. And let the results be the only statement you ever need to make. They wrote you off. Make that the worst mistake they ever made.